One. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Angle of Pursuit. We're doing a little mini episode this week and talking some defenses. That we haven't been able to get the article up on the website as of late because our buddy Ben had a baby. So we figured we'd jump in and talk to you about a few defenses that you can target and stream this week. And Damian, I have a couple for you. We'll kind of work through them and get your thoughts. Cincinnati at home versus Indianapolis. Jacoby Brissett on the road. I know the Bengals were bad last week, but they have some talent on that side of the ball, and this is a really nice spot for a defense that's available in about 30% of leagues, 30% of Yahoo leagues. I think it's a nice target this week.
Absolutely, and that percentage there is just reflective of everybody adding them this week because prior to that they were well below 50%. I think
they're up 44% since yesterday.
Yep. So yeah, they would have been at what 33, 26%. As you can tell, we're not math guys. But no, I think Cincinnati's a great play. I think they're a really good. They're a real good defense by NFL metrics and kind of the advanced stats there, the DVOA stuff. Hasn't always translated to fantasy points, but that's usually easier to bet on than vice versa. And this is a great spot for them. I mean, Indianapolis gave up 10 sacks last week. We know Brissett doesn't really throw a lot of interceptions. They're fairly conservative in the passing game, but I think if they get behind, they're going to have to throw, and that's going to create some opportunities for some turnovers. So they're definitely they're a top 5 defense for me this week with some of the buys. And again, they're probably one of the more widely available ones you can pick up. So definitely with you on that call.
Yep. Below them, I like New Orleans a lot, about 50% owned on Yahoo. We obviously saw what they could do in the Dome 2 weeks ago and against Detroit. Mitch Trubisky comes to town. I know that was a weird game last week where the defense was able to kind of convert a couple defensive plays into touchdowns, and that game got a little weird. But, a rookie on the road making a start against a defense that has shown the ability to create turnovers. I think the Saints are in a good spot and widely available.
Yeah, we talked about it on the episode this week, but the Bears don't want to throw, and assuming the Saints can put up points here, they're going to have to. And that's going to be a terrific situation for them there. Trubisky obviously hasn't been passing a lot lately. So an opportunity for some turnovers there. Obviously, that they do play much better at home, and we've seen in recent weeks just playing better overall as a defense. So again, another defense that I think is, definitely available in some leagues and is a top 10 play this week.
Yeah, and the Bears have given up the third most fantasy points to opposing defenses, 11.4 per game. They've been sacked 4 times in each of the last 2 games. They went 4 games in a row with at least 1 interception before that. So, like you mentioned, they're going to try and limit Trubisky a little bit. But if this game gets out of hand, it could get really ugly, and then they're going to have to throw more. And it could be a nice day for a defense that's pretty widely available. Beyond there, there's not a ton that stands out. I think
I want to bring up the Dolphins. Thursday night, obviously it's a short week, but the Baltimore is so bad. I mean, they're pretty much unwatchable right now. The only way they score is 60-yard Justin Tucker field goals. They're so conservative and so inefficient that it's really just a lot of 3 and outs, which it's hard to get kind of defensive points on those. But you combine that with the short week with potentially Wallace and Macklin being out.
Yep.
This can be an absolute disaster. So if you're really struggling for a defense, somebody's already scooped up the Bengals and the Saints. I still think the Dolphins are kind of a borderline top 10 play there that you can use.
Yeah, Flacco was sacked 5 times last week. He was 3 times the week before with 2 picks and a fumble. So there's a lot of potential. 3 of the last 4 weeks they've given up double-digit fantasy points to the opposing defense. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and the Bears. So, a mixed bag of defenses. And I know you wanted to talk about those Jags because I know they're on a bye week, and we typically preach avoid holding multiple defenses, but I think this might be one of the cases where if you can swing it, if you have the flexibility, hold on to those Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, absolutely. I think I was listening to the CBS pod earlier, and they kind of said we don't want to drop them, but it's totally a case where I can't see a single scenario where I'm dropping the Jags defense, simply because they're a defense I'm going to start every week for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And
do you want me to run through the schedule really quick?
Go for it.
Listen to this. After the bye, they face Andy Dalton so Dalton's on the road. They face Phillip Rivers on the road. Both those guys, I like them as quarterbacks. They're good for fantasy, but they also like to turn it over. Then they're at Cleveland, turnovers. They're at Arizona, which is probably going to be Drew Stanton or whoever, if he gets hurt, somebody else. Jacoby Brissett. Seattle, you don't love. Houston, you don't love. And then they get the Niners. It'll probably still be Beathard. And then at Tennessee to finish out the year. So fantasy playoffs, maybe you go a little bit different direction. But, with two rookie quarterbacks and Mariota, a conservative, that he's not going to kill you. I'm with you. I think if you can swing it with that schedule coming up, they could be a real difference maker down the stretch.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, look, I'm going to pull them up right now. Kind of their point totals this year. I mean, they have 2 games with 28 points and another one with 20. How many guys on your bench do you have that have a 28-point game this year? Do they have a 28-point game in their career? Like the fact that people are like, oh, I can't drop anybody from my bench. I need to keep my backup tight end or my 7th-string wide receiver just in case 3 guys get hurt and I could use them 1 week. That's absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
There's no chance. Yeah, go ahead.
In our podcast league, they've been in double figures every week except for 2. That's insane. And like you mentioned, 3 weeks above 20 points. 2 weeks where they scored 28 points.
They're getting
that's against Houston.
More points than your
that's
starters.
Against Pittsburgh. That kind of upside from a defense, that's something that could win you a week.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just the fact that you're thinking about dropping that for a guy that you're not even going to play this week, who best case scenario you can start twice maybe the rest of the year or 3 times. It's crazy. So there's no scenario where I'm dropping the Jacksonville D. If they do get dropped, usually you don't see anything more than $1 $2 bid on a defense. I'd throw $15 on it if somebody drops them.
Oh yeah. And obviously there's scenarios in 10-team leagues where you're holding some studs and you don't have the space, but don't be dropping them to pick up Dion Lewis. Don't be dropping them to pick up, a backup quarterback. Just don't. Just hold on to them, roll through the bye, and then drop the other defense whoever you're playing this week, and be very, very happy you did. All right, Damian, this was a lot of fun. Make sure you are joining us every Monday and Wednesday night. We are here for an hour around 9 p.m. Eastern. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications when we go live. I'll check out all of our other stuff. If you miss a podcast, make sure you are subscribed on iTunes. While you're there, if you can rate and review the show, give us 5 stars. It really does a lot to help us, and we'll be ever indebted to you. But for Damian Dabrowski, I'm Kyle Robert, and we'll talk to you guys down the road.